First of all, hello to you and your audience and everyone who is watching this interview. Thank you for inviting me to share my life story and experience of living under the Taliban's gender apartheid regime for 4 years. For your question, this is Mina. I am 26 years old. I also graduated from law faculty and I was working as an assistant lawyer and as an intern in court. And I was on the verge of qualifying to become a lawyer just in the week when the former government collapsed. And living in a patriarchal and traditional society where there is less right for women and more violence against them made me to take decision to become a lawyer in my life and bring justice for women. For this reason, when I was working as an assistant lawyer, also working as an intern in the court, mostly in the family court, I was working on the cases of violence against women, domestic violence, and violence against children. It is really painful to speak about those days, about the change that caused in our life after the Taliban took over. We were locked and stayed at home for a long time. We were worried about our future, and we wished and hoped that we never experienced what our mothers and women in our family lived in the last period of the Taliban in 1990s. After hearing about restriction on women's work, we were scared what will happen to female lawyers because we believed that female lawyers are necessary in the society for victims, and that is separate from every other job opportunity in the society. However, when we reached out to the Ministry of Justice for renewing the license of our female colleagues and getting my qualification, we got informed that no female lawyer will be able to work as well as other women. That was terrible to see that our future and our goal and our plans, everything is destroyed. Thank you. Before answering your question, I want to share my feelings that I had at that time. I was struggling with depression and hopelessness, like many and millions of women and girls in the country. I saw that my future, my plans that I had worked hard for them, destroyed in front of my eyes. I knew that I will never be able to work as a lawyer, practice as a lawyer, be an advocate for women, and bring justice for women as the Taliban are in power. And that was the time that I was blaming myself for everything, for the collapse of former government, for the Taliban took over, and for everything. And then I started to think that to find a solution, again, to help and provide support for my fellow Afghan women. If it is not as a lawyer that I can work and practice and defend their rights in the court, but it can be in other places. I thought to open a home school in our house. However, because of my family background in judicial and justice system, I couldn't do that. Additionally, the Taliban's searches were happening for homeschools, and I couldn't make more threats for my family and for my students. And that was the time that I joined online classes to educate women all across the country with English language. So that will be the thing that they can get an education opportunity outside, or that they can communicate with outside of Afghanistan. In 2023, I started to write about the situation of women and girls in Afghanistan under the Taliban regime. I didn't have a journalism background, but I have a law background, and I was going to become a lawyer to defend the rights of women and be advocate for them and bring justice for them. So if I cannot be a lawyer right now, but I can be a journalist and write and defend them with my words and with my pen. My goal has been to raise awareness to the international community, to be a true voice from inside of Afghanistan and share the first-hand evidence from women and their experiences living under the regime of gender apartheid. Hopefully, we will be able to stop Taliban's normalization. The audience of my writings are Afghan people both inside of the country and in exile, international lawyers, academics, experts, politicians, and everyone who has power to do something. I'm sharing true stories of suffering of women and girls in the country because of the ban on their life and because of the prosecution that happen every day against them because of the gender apartheid. I am calling on them for a tangible action to end all this prosecution and gender apartheid in the country. We all are aware that female lawyers are not allowed to work and practice and defend their cases in the courts directly. So with the team of female lawyers that we have been trying to provide legal consultation for those women who are victims of violence, domestic violence, and they file the complaint to the court and they don't have any power to defend themselves or their case or to get their rights. We are providing the support to help them with their cases. As I mentioned earlier, we female lawyers are not allowed to work, so we cannot work publicly and have an office where women can reach out to us so we can provide support for them. So mostly the cases that we work on them and providing our legal consultation to them, they are the cases that we get connected with them through our friends, colleagues, and people who know us, and we get connected with them and work with them in hiding and indirectly without entering the court, but we are providing our support. When the Taliban, as a whole government system, doesn't recognize women as human beings and prosecute them every day and erase them from public life and taking away every single right from them, how the judicial and justice system will recognize women as human beings and give them a right, an opportunity, or a space to be heard. The Taliban's justice and judicial systems ignores women and don't listen to them. And we have heard so many cases of women who had a case in the court. They even were not allowed to enter to the court. And the Taliban doesn't know a word in the name of divorce. And there are thousands of cases of women who in the courts all across the country, when the woman victim of domestic violence and physical violence by her husband filed a complaint to the court and asking for justice from the Taliban judges. However, the Taliban judges decided to give these women two options. First one, go back to their life with their husband, with their perpetrator husband, or they must go and stay in prison. And this is the justice that the Taliban judges do. It is really an unimaginable time. We lost our hope, future, identity, and everything that we had and we have in life. We are locked at home. However, despite all these, we have been trying to do everything to provide support with the knowledge and experience that we have to other women who need our help and support. And during this time, we had some accomplishments as well. And we, with the team of female lawyers that we had some accomplishments that we were able to release some innocent women from the Taliban's prison, and that was a great success for the team and for all those kind people who have been supporting us. For women like us who lived free and studied in the 20 years of democracy before the Taliban took over, it is really unbearable to live under the Taliban's gender apartheid regime for a moment. However, we have been living for 4 years. How we are coping, and it is happening, and we are living. I am living because of the support and love and kindness that I receive from my family, my parents, my husband, my friends, and the huge need from my fellow Afghan women, the support that they need. I believe in a day when we all are free and the Taliban will not be in power, and that is the time that we must be ready for that. Women and girls in my country are our assets of our country. We spent money and time and energy on them and opportunities that they lived, studied, graduated from school and university, and we must not allow them to give up on their life or themselves or their power right now. I am providing everything that I can do in my human power to keep them motivated and inspired that there will be a day, there will be a morning after this dark night, and we must be ready, and we need to protect this asset. We need to protect all women and girls, and that is a great motivation that I ask the international community, United Nations, and every other international power to stand by women and girls in Afghanistan, to stand by the people of Afghanistan, and stop the Taliban so that they can stand in the right side of the history, and stop normalizing the Taliban and do not recognize them as a government, and do not recognize them as a government. My message to women inside of Afghanistan and all across the world is to say that Afghan women are strong and they are powerful, and we are fighting for our rights, for the rights of our fellow Afghan women and girls, and we will win this battle, and we will take back our rights and freedom, and we will live free.